All right, kiddos. 6 minutes has elapsed. Looks like pretty much all of you were able to submit the video on Edpuzzle. A little crash course astronomy. So most of you were able to felt good on the first question. Who are the two people who kind of did the groundbreaking work for orbit math and calculation stuff?
One's Kepler.
Yep, the other one we
Kepler
talked about
and
before. Yep, Kepler and Newton. So you can see Newton really had a big influence on physics, not only for the ideas and observations he made, but also a lot of the math that he figured out based on those observations. So this we've gone over a few times now, but I really want to drive this point home. What is an astronomic unit based on?
Earth to the sun.
And does anyone know roughly how far that is in kilometers? There's kind of a nice round number we can put to it.
150 million.
150 million kilometers, which is, in my opinion, an unimaginable distance, right? I mean, it's hard to even picture what that is. There's other examples you can see where they compare it to widths of things. So I don't know the exact number, but if you looked at you can measure it in the number of widths of Earth, which I think it's definitely probably in the hundreds. Or you could look at widths of the sun. I think we're like 6 sun widths away from the sun. Like an insane distance when you think about it. The last thing was then just the error bars. They studied this by going to different parts of the planet and watching Venus and Mercury cross in front of the sun and doing a little bit of math. But the problem is that when you're on the surface of the Earth looking up, does anyone know what's distorting and bending the light?
The atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere. And so that's why now, once we were able to get satellites up into space and outside the atmosphere, there's been big leaps and bounds in terms of understanding distances and locations and predicting orbits. The Hubble telescope in particular has been groundbreaking in the data they've been able to collect because it's outside of the atmosphere, isn't altered, and is able to take pretty high definition images of all over the galaxy. So cool stuff. Anyway, we'll do an activity related to astronomical units towards the end of class. I want to give you most of class time today to work with your partners on project stuff. I meant to assign groups. I'll do that really fast so you can get into breakout rooms. But just looking at the tasks list on the Canvas post, this is number 2. I've got a link to the description. I strongly encourage you to scroll down in the description and find your chapter and just look at the words that I recommend defining, the overall goal of what you should describe. And I have sort of fun demonstration or video ideas. That is not something you have to do. Those are just ideas that popped into my head while I was writing this. But check them out. It's just meant to be something to maybe give you an idea of something fun to do. But again, not a requirement, not anything you have to go crazy doing. I made a resources page on Canvas. There's a link for it right there on the Canvas post. Solar System Online Lesson Resources. These are about 4 or 5 minute videos on how to use these different online platforms. So if you're curious about Pictochart, you're not really sure how to use it, here's a little 4-minute video that will walk you through how to do that. Same thing for the assessment tools. So if you're not sure how to use something, that's a good place to go just to kind of get introduced to that. They're mostly just introductory tutorials. And if you haven't done so already, definitely by the end of class, you should hopefully have a good idea of which tool you want to use and which assessment tool. You can still change your mind on this if you want, but there's a survey I want you to fill out just to make sure we're not all using the same thing. Hopefully there's a little bit of diversity there. But okay, I'm going to create the breakout rooms based on partners here. So just give me a second and then let you go to spend the next 30 minutes to work on this. So just give me a minute to assign partners. Sorry, I meant to do this ahead of time. All right, sorry, thanks for waiting through that. Rooms are open and I'll come check in with you. We'll meet back here again in 30 minutes. How'd that go? Feel like you're able to make progress, at least a little? All right. I wanted to just do a really short activity with you to explore astronomical unit stuff and just to do a little bit of drawing again. So we are looking at task number 3, I believe, or 4 on the Canvas post now. Yeah, right here. Task number 3, activity, using a U map to map out the planets. It's another ed puzzle, but this time it's going to be me giving you instructions on what to do. You're going to need scissors, paper, tape to hook paper together, and you're going to need a ruler with centimeters. This is going to be the one challenging thing. So if you don't have that, see if you can find like a meter stick, or if you have one of those like little angle measures that might show centimeters on it. You can maybe use your phone, the phone app. There's a measure app on your phone too that might be functional for this. I've never used it to measure lines before, but like you're gonna have to be drawing a line out. But I'd like to use the next 15 minutes of class just to have you watch that ed puzzle and try the activity, and then we'll touch base to review it. If you can't get the ed puzzle to work, I know some of you have trouble with that. I have just the video down below here without any of the puzzle stuff on it. There's just one question at the end, but we'll review that together as well. So let's take 15 minutes to work on this, and I'll be here listening. If you're having trouble figuring out what to do or can't find materials, just let me know. Go for it. Just to review, looks like most of you got about 90% through the video, so if you want to finish up, it's okay, but this isn't anything that's graded. Anyone want to hold up their drawing? Anyone got an example they can show off? Nice, looks like most of you were able to put the sheet of paper together. So the main reason I wanted to do this was, anyone want to guess why we call Venus, Mercury, Earth, and Mars the inner planets? What did you notice?
They're really close to the sun, whereas the other ones are extremely far.
Yeah, on that scale, if you think about Pluto being the outermost planet, even though Pluto technically is now not a planet, it's a dwarf planet. But yeah, we're all crammed in really, really close to the sun. That's the inner planets. And then everything else after that, Saturn, Neptune, super, super far away. And again, the distances are mind-boggling, right? I think it's Neptune is about 30 astronomical units away. Remind me how many kilometers are in 1 astronomical unit? Do I remember?
150-ish?
150
Thousand.
million. 150 million, which is, again, it's crazy. I mean, it's that alone is hard to wrap your mind around. Then imagine 30 of those. And it's mind-boggling then to think that we've still been able to send satellites out to orbit these planets and take pictures of them and stuff. They, if you haven't, you should go look up. They just had a satellite within this last year passed really close to Pluto and took pictures of it. They have high-definition photos of Pluto, and it's awesome. It's basically just a giant ball of ice. But anyway, really, really, anyway, I thought that interesting stuff. Makes me feel really, really small and insignificant when you think about everything that's out there. But anyway, kind of cool to think about how astronomical units are used, and makes sense that Earth is 1, right? That's our reference point. Okay, so only homework is just to make sure that you are ready to present. I want to emphasize that we are going to deliver the lessons in the order of the chapters. And so that means that Cora and Olive, you will be going first. You have our first section. Winston and Peter are second with the sun. Garrett and Kevin third with the inner planets. And so hopefully those are the 3 lessons we'll be able to do on Monday. And then Wednesday we'll do outer planets with Addie and Amanda, habitable planets with Andres and Andres, Earth's moon with Kyle and Owen, and then we'll wrap up on Friday with eclipses and failed planets with Shay, Margot, Kwan, and Zach. So take some time over the weekend to touch base with your partner. Make sure you're ready to post your lesson to the discussion board. That's one of the homework assignments. The other one is just, again, make sure you can get some kind of base or frame for your Rube Goldberg machine, because we're then next week going to start building on that slowly. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you've submitted what tool you think you're going to use for the lesson and the assessment on that little survey there. Again, you can change your mind on this. I want to just get a rough idea of what everyone's doing, and just try to avoid having everybody use just one thing. I want to diversify at least a little bit. So, okay, any questions on that? All right, that's it for me, kids. Thank you very much. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you.
I'll hang around here if anyone's got questions.